All right, guys, it's my first day here at Braintree Town. I'm just gonna go out. We're gonna go scouting. We're the only scout here. We're Vanarama South Side. This should be super easy, right? There's just no way we're gonna be able to find a lot of players. So let's head into the scouting. Let's head into player search, and let's just start to write a few names down here that the boss might like. You know, he's pretty tricky. Okay. Yes, what we're going to talk about today is really good enough to help you see the entire world when you are even a non-league club in the lowest level that's playable in the base game in England. If you want to see me do tricks like this live, the link to my Twitch stream is down in the description. We play a ton of Football Manager. We play some other games. We have a great time. Super, well, I would say chill vibe, but I've definitely almost broken my desk a couple times. What? What are you doing? But yes, if you've not seen stuff like this on Twitch, let's talk about the trick. It's not really a trick. It's just financial accounting wizardry. I've started a save with Braintree Town. I just picked a random team in Vanarama North South to show you that essentially at one of the lowest levels in the game, this is still a completely effective way to be able to scout the world. And the most important reason you would want to do this is because of all the free agents that you don't have knowledge of. Now, if you go to scouting and you go to knowledge, you can see how limited the knowledge I have of the world is. Now, I know all of the English players. I know some players in America because my manager is from the United States, and that's it. And looking at this knowledge, there's a huge missed opportunity because the worse your team gets, the more thousands and thousands of players that you just don't know exist could help you win, could be superstars for your team, and would be able to fit into whatever budget constraints you might have. And seriously, on some of these teams, I would be a 5-star. Just check out these moves. And in order to get superstars like that, we now need to go to finances. And this is where accounting wizardry is going to happen. So we have no transfer budget at all, but we have some room in our payroll budget. Well, then we need to create as much transfer budget as we possibly can. You're gonna have to trust me on this one. Take as much payroll budget as you can and throw it into the transfer budget. Maybe you have the opportunity to ask your board for more. If you've been in a save for a year or 2 or 3, then I would recommend doing that to get you 12,000 into the transfer budget. That's all we have to do here. And if there is no room on this part, then guess what? We can still follow through with this plan. It's just not going to be as comprehensive because this plan depends on taking advantage of what is essentially a subscription service. Do you have like Netflix or Hulu or any of those, Amazon Prime, or any other 15 that I don't know about? If you have one of those, they usually have some sort of free trial period. What we are doing here in order to help you scout the whole world is using what is essentially that trial period and just watching shows 24/7 to get your absolute money's worth in there. So we click on scouting, we go to players and player search, and then you're going to see something called a scouting budget. Now, you may have never interacted with this before in your life, and you'll be going, oh, well, there's some pretty significant money there. Yeah, there is. And if you take your transfer budget, you've got even more money in here. And now all of a sudden, we have $54,000 in our scouting budget, even though we're a super tiny club. Once you have all that money in there, we go over to recruitment package, you click on this, and then all of a sudden, there's a subscribe button there, which is also, weirdly enough, down below this video, and you can click it if you enjoy it and find it helpful. It's amazing how that happened. There's also a bunch of different packages that provide you knowledge about the world, and you can see the per month spend that it takes in order to get the package. And you can actually get the package as long as you are able to cover 1 month's spending for that package. So brutally, at $54,000, we are 4,000 away from getting the entire continent of Europe. But depending on the club you're at, you might be able to even go farther beyond UK, in Ireland, or wherever you happen to be, that immediate area, and maybe even go all the way up to the world if you can get it to 77,000. Maybe sell a player or two early on in the season, players that you don't want that are going to free up a little bit of wage space so that you can clear 1 month's pay for the highest package that you can possibly get to provide you knowledge of the world. So we're going to take the UK Ireland package. It says, oh, it's $464,000 for the year. Monthly deductions from the scouting budget of $38,500. The cost of the most expensive package selected will be deducted from the scouting budget at the end of the month. There aren't funds left in the budget to meet the monthly package. The club will cease to have a package. Would you like to proceed? And you click yes. Well, once you click yes, you see how that number of players just changed. This isn't a subscription service where, oh, over time you become aware of all these different players. No, this is a subscription service where instantly, boom, you can see all of those players instantly, like loading a Google search. And unlike the Netflix that I spend a ton of time in that bed right there watching mindlessly, Last Kingdom's a great show, by the way, this can be canceled immediately at any time, which you actually might be able to do with Netflix too. I gotta be honest, I don't know, but you can cancel this literally at any time. So you don't have to spend the money in order to actually cover the month. You're not spending any money. You've literally subscribed for a day. This is like creating a new email every 2 weeks to consistently get free trials of all of your favorite streaming services. That is what we're doing here. We have signed up for this elite global scouting service, and we're just going to cancel our subscription when we're done with it. So next, you're going to want to check your competition rules to see who you're going to be able to add. Now, if you're playing non-league in the lowest levels that are playable in England, you are going to be dealing with the ever annoying work permit rules. But no matter where you are, you want to go down here and check foreign player rules, non-EU rules, whatever could possibly constrict you from signing the players that have now all of a sudden popped up. With a work permit, just in case it does matter and you're at a club that's able to get the extra $4,000 needed to get an entire European player search that we have now, there is actually a search filter that allows you to see players that would get a work permit and players that wouldn't. And that filter is in transfer, and then you just go down to work permit chance, work permit required. Of course, since we only have the UK and England, when we go to like work permit is likely, there's 4 players, may qualify for work permit, there's nobody, and would probably fail to qualify for work permit, there's 24 people. And then when you go to not applicable, there are 3,385 people. The other thing you're going to want to look for, because you are a poor club, and this is universal, is you want to look for people that just don't have a contract, which means all of a sudden, we've got 2,000 people that you can sign for free, which is a little overwhelming. And this is just in the UK and Ireland. And then just start adding all of these people to a shortlist. You just click on them and then right click and say add to shortlist. And you can add them for however long you want. What I would recommend doing before you start this is that you should create a couple of different shortlists. You do that by going to shortlist, clicking a drop down, new shortlist, and saying mids. You know, maybe we're working on our midfielders. Maybe you find some people that are potential work permit, right? Or if you're in a different country, you're not in England, you're somewhere else that's dealing with non-EU players, be like future non-EU, like somebody that you want to sign in the future in the non-EU. Maybe you're doing that in Italy because you've already met your quota for the year. There are also other ways, because you might not want to add 700 players to shortlists that just have absolutely no club and aren't just amateur. You probably be worth checking out the amateurs too, but the amateurs you have to actually scout, and the people that don't have clubs, you can trial. And trials are huge. If you don't know what those are, you just right click on a player, transfer, offer trial. It's basically inviting them to come practice at your club. It's free scouting. If you wanted to narrow this down further, here is what I would do. The first obvious one is I look for youth appearances on the international stage. Cayman Islands, who cares? But somebody that's got youth caps for Scotland might be able to help you out. You can also sort from here by all-time career appearances, which is a nice way to just cut out the players that just have never played anywhere, and all of a sudden you're down to 216 players, the youngest of which is actually only 21 years old. My general train of thought is you're not going to sign the wonder kids that are going to develop with your club at this stage. Sometimes you really just got to let it go. So I'm going to click this guy, scroll on down, how much I think is 50 people, and just go, all right, we're adding to shortlist, just default indefinitely. And you want to grab everyone you think has a chance, because once you cancel it, they're going to go away. And you don't want to miss anybody, so you might as well have them on some short list just in case. So let's go back to player search and say, all right, it's time. We're going to go ahead and cancel our package. We lost no money in the process. The players are still on our short list. And throughout the course of the year, we can go through and start offering trials to sets of these players. You click the side, hold shift, and click down. You can offer a trial. My recommendation is 2 weeks. If you do 2 weeks and then invite them back for a third week on trial, you you will then know you'll know everything about the player and be able to make an educated decision. You can work your way through the shortlist, prune out the undoubtedly large number of people that aren't any good, and find a bunch of people that are. Again, like this guy. Reese, stop it. We get it. The boards will set a limit on the number of players they're comfortable allowing in on trial at once. So it's very important that once you see these players and you decide whether they're good or not, let the people that aren't good go so that you can cycle more people in for the trial. What is the downside of a trial? It's not financial, it's the ability of your training, because all of those people show up at training and you have no coaching staff because your team sucks. So your training is just going to be absolutely bomb awful all the time that you're doing this full trialing. So you want to try and go through it in the off season. You want to try and maybe go through it in the preseason, or if you're semi-pro, it honestly doesn't matter, because what training are you doing anyways? I mean, it does, but you get the idea. And that's really all we need. And so we've canceled our recruitment package, despite the fact that we opened up our world and were able to see into the entirety of the UK and Ireland, and it's even more large and overwhelming in Europe. And if you get the entire world, I know it can be very difficult to go through all of these players, but if you do have the time, you sit down with our feverish scouting technique, you put together the short lists, and then just over the course of time, you find a way to get through all of the players on trial, and you're able to find a few people that can absolutely change your save. And that's how you scout the whole world as a semi-pro team, or enough of the world. Make enough money next year, maybe we'll go for the whole thing. Happy scouting, happy signing, happy promotion celebrations, hopefully, because then you'll actually be able to scout the whole world with, scouts.